Hello everyone, so I am going to be doing this manicure tonight. I'll show you how I did this. So the first thing I'm going to do is I am going to put a coat of Sinful Colors, and this is glass pink. I've added a few drops of a different pink to give it a slightly more opaque, but it's not much and you really can't tell that much. So any French manicure sparkly pink I think would work fine. I just want the hint of the pink, and you almost don't notice it, but I think it adds just a little bit to the look that I'm going to go for. Help if I stay in frame. So I'm going to do a coat of that on all my nails. I'm gonna have to buy another bottle of this. I'm almost out. I use this a lot, and you can hear my bird in the background chirping away. Okay, sorry about the hand in the way, but that's this coat. I'm going to let this dry. And okay, so I've put 2 coats of the glass pink on, and I am now going to top that with this China Glaze and Travel in Color. I just love the sparkle of this one. Okay. I'm going to let that dry, and I'll be back. Okay, so now we're to what should be the more difficult part, since this is my non-dominant hand I'm painting with. So I am taking Revlon Top Speed, and this is Diva, and I'm going to use that for the French manicure part. And all I'm going to do is just start off by doing strokes, just kind of trying to line them up as close as I can and go pull it down. And then I start kind of going back and touching up. If you have to, you know, it doesn't have to be precise, but the closer you are, the better. And I just kind of work at it until I get it the way I like it. Cap the end and move on to the next one. And it really is just as simple as just touch and pull, and it's not like it's the end of the world if you don't get it perfect. my experience is that most people don't notice when I screw them up. Just me. And I find that this is the easiest way to do a French. I do have the stickers. I have used the stickers, but they're usually too small for my fingers. They don't fit right. They leave gaps, so I just freehand it. So, put the lid back on that. Now my palette. I am using acrylic paint. We're just gonna, this one's a little hard to get out. I'm gonna have to get some more of it. I'm almost out. And honestly, all I ended up using pretty much was bright red, white. I used a little bit of black and a little bit of a bright pink, but not much of those colors. It was mostly red and white, but I'm using, or going to start out with, this Mash brush. It's got a fine point, and I'm going to get a little water on it, and I'm just going to start out with some red, and I want it a little bit thinner, so I'm just going to get a little water in it, and I just make a couple hearts to make sure I've got it down and it's not too watery, because if it's too watery it doesn't look quite the way I want. So there we go. So we'll start with my thumb, and this is where it's going to get tricky. So all I'm doing is making a V, and it makes your heart, and I'm kind of just putting them in here. Kind of push the brush down a little bit and then pull it up. And that one's not quite, so we'll just add a little bit of red. And then I'm going to come over here and I'm going to get a little bit of white and I'm going to mix it in with the red, so I get kind of a slightly more streaky effect, and it kind of looks like a tie-dyed heart. I did that one by accident the first time and I loved the way it looked, so I'm going to do some more. And then I'm just going to pick up some of the bright pink. And I'm going to rinse my brush off. I want most of the color out of it. And I'm just going to do, for the side of the nail, make it look like a heart, half of a heart. And then over here, do a heart. And then I'm going to take some of this red glitter polish, put that heart in, and then I'm going to take some of the red, and I'm going to just take the smallest bit of black to make a slightly deeper red. And we're going to put that in there. And I just kind of put them in like that. And I'm going to do that same thing, my ring finger, which I don't know, hopefully that was in frame, but if not, we'll try it again here. Alright, so making a V. And I just kind of randomly place the hearts. And once they dry a little bit, I'm going to go back and I'll place a few hearts so that it gives a more layered effect. Because layers make things more interesting and give it more depth. Okay. Now, I'm going to rinse out my brush really good, and while those hearts dry, I am going to put hearts on the edge of this French. So, we're just going to make our little hearts. And again, don't worry about them being perfect. You just want to do hearts along your French manicure. Try and space them out as best as you can, but that's just going to be a half of a heart. Really hard to paint this on camera on my opposite hand. My fingers are shaking, so in that case I'm going to put them on the tabletop, which makes it even more difficult because I can't really see what I'm doing as well as I'd like. Okay, now, once again, I'm going to clean my brush. I'm going to come back to my thumb, and I'm going to take the hot pink and the bright pink and put heart in there. And just, you know, change the sizes, just add a few. You don't need a ton of ones on there. And then for this one, I'm going to once again go into the hot pink, and I'm gonna put one and the red glitter heart needs a little help on one side, so I'm gonna add a little glitter to it to make it pop a little bit more. And I think I'm going to add a red heart over here. And this shape down here is not distinct, so I'm going to add a heart there. Now, I'm going to let that dry for just a second. It doesn't take very long. I'm going to get the paint out of my brush. Now, I'm going to take this little, I think it's supposed to be a liner brush, but it's got a fat handle, and I'm going to come in here into the black, and I'm going to get some black on the brush, and I'm going to water down that black a little bit. And I don't know how well this is going to come out on my non-dominant hand. This is going to be interesting. So, if you'll notice, the hearts are outlined on here, and it really kind of makes them pop, I think. So, that's what we're going to attempt to do. And just with the lightest stroke, just as delicately as you can. And like I said, this is my non-dominant hand, so trying to outline is exceedingly difficult. So you just it just takes patience. Don't try and go too fast, because that just makes it more difficult. And I really do think that even though it's more difficult to do on this hand, I think it is going to be worthwhile, because the black really makes those hearts stand out. And if you can hear that noise, that's my husband playing a video game downstairs. Okay. Hand is sticking to my paper towel. I'm going to pick up a little bit more black. Get it on my brush. And do my ring finger. And really, I find for my non-dominant hand, I do better if I just kind of move my finger around where I need it a little bit more than I do with my dominant hand painting. And I just try and take light brush strokes, because too heavy excuse me, and the brush strokes get too thick, as this nail is showing. I also tend to get more spidery lines if I don't have both hands braced, which I am bracing both hands on the table. I'm still having trouble on this nail with spidery lines. Okay. Now, for the very last finishing touch, I'm going to take that same liner brush, make sure I've gotten all the black off of it, and I'm going to get a dot of white. And I am just going to go in to the little hearts, and I'm just going to touch in a tiny little bit of white. And surprisingly, that little bit of white does a whole lot for them. Once you get your top coat on, it adds this just this little bit of dimension that is so cute. Okay. Get my brush all cleaned up, and I am going to start by top coating the French manicure nails and give the other nails just a few more minutes to dry before I put a top coat on them. And I'm using my Sèche Vite top coat. And I ended up with 2 coats of Sèche Vite on the other hand, just because I could feel the acrylic paint a little bit in some spots, and so I wanted to make sure that that wasn't a problem. So alright, now thankfully acrylic doesn't take very long to dry. And that is the outcome. I think that is a very cute manicure. I hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching.